Enemies ahead! Let's go! Let's go!
Let's say that you're looking to buy a new processor and suddenly you have to decide between two products that are both just the same on paper, but one of them has a feature called hyperthreading and the other doesn't. Clearly, hyperthreading is a good thing because you have to pay extra for it, but what does it do? Most importantly, is it something that you should care about? In this video, let us get some answers for these burning questions. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. Before going too deep into hyperthreading, and even if you aren't all that interested in the technical details of the computer technology, you have probably heard of Moore's law before. It is not really a law, but an observation that the basic components of integrated circuits were doubling in density every 2 years or so. In effect, this meant that the performance of a CPU would double every 2 years, which is an exponential rate of improvement. If the fastest car in the world was twice as fast as the one that came out 2 years ago, and the trend continued for decades, we would have vehicles with the speed of science fiction starships. So this is actually one of the most revolutionary things about computer technology. Problem is that the performance of a CPU isn't just determined by the density of the components. Its clock speed, which is how many full calculation circles it can perform in a second, is obviously important. If you take a CPU and you double the clock speed, it will perform twice as well, at least in theory. The problem is that no matter how fast the processor works, it can only do one thing at a time. What we perceive as multitasking is actually the processor rapidly jumping between thousands of different jobs. A few years ago, we started hitting a few brick walls, then it came to making a single processor faster and faster. So one of the solutions was to put more than one CPU in every processor so that various jobs could be divided between them. Today, a quad-core CPU is pretty much mainstream in any configuration. Hyperthreading is Intel's name for simultaneous threading. It basically means that one CPU core can work on two problems at the same time. It doesn't mean that the CPU can do twice as much work, just that it can ensure all its capacity used by dealing with multiple simpler problems at once. For your operating system, each real silicon CPU core looks like two, so it feeds each one work as if they were separate. Because so much of what a CPU does is not enough to work it to the maximum, hyperthreading makes sure that you are getting your money worth from that chip. So, the next question is, should you care about hyperthreading? Well, it depends. This is another question that can be a little bit complicated but actually pretty simple when you break it down. First, let's put out one thing about hyperthreading that is almost always true. If you must choose between two processors that can handle same number of threads but don't have the same number of cores to go with the CPU that has more physical cores. For example, if you have a dual-core hyper-threaded CPU and a non-hyper-threaded quad-core CPU, the quad-core option is better choice, given that they are close to each other in a single thread and single-core performance. The real deal comes when you have two CPUs with the same physical specifications, but one has hyper-threading and the other one doesn't. Now our question really has to do with the software that you want to run. If you have software that can spawn enough threads to use the hyper-threading as well, you will see a significant boost from opting the CPU with hyper-threading. Simply because none of the processing capacity is being wasted and the component is working in its near full potential as much for the time as possible. If the software you want to run doesn't spawn enough threads to use the hyperthreading virtual cores, you will see literally no difference in performance. Traditionally, operations such as CPU 3D rendering, video encoding, and photo manipulation will create as many threads as your poor CPU can take. In other words, many modern professional applications are thread hungry. This is why hyperthreading has been restricted to professional tier CPUs such as the Core i7 and higher than Core i7 in Intel's lineup. Mainstream applications such as word processors, web browsers aren't going to perform any better with hyperthreading. Video games are another mainstream applications that been fairly apathetic to hyperthreading. In latest 2019, the video game engines are started to become more thread heavy, which means that hyper-threaded CPUs will perform better. Older titles won't see any advantage at all, with the exception of a few simulation type games that makes heavy use of AI or other CPU centric processors. So, does that mean your next gaming PC should have hyper-threading? The thing is, we are now moving to a mainstream CPU market where 6, 8 and 12 cores of CPU are normal, and AMD is making commercial desktop CPUs that has 64 cores and mainstream server CPUs that has 128 cores. So it is far better to have more physical cores wherever possible. Which leads us to the most important question. Should you consider buying a CPU with hyperthreading? Let me break down the answer for you. If you do professional thread heavy work, hyperthreading really matters. If you are a gamer, prioritize having more cores in your next build over the hyperthreading, but get hyperthreading in addition if the price is right. Hyperthreading is a great technology, but it is not useful for everyone. Now, you should know whether that someone is you or not. So I guess that's all for this video. Thanks for watching and hope you guys liked it. Comment down below your thoughts and suggestions for our future videos. And if you are new to this channel, a sub would be massively appreciated. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.